Hello lovelies, hello family, and welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to do another video, something along the lines, some of the things I've been talking about. I came across this article because I was interested in learning more about the pineal gland, your third chakra, consider your third chakra within the brain, and I want to learn more about it. And I did a little bit of research. This is an older article. It's a scholarly journal article, but I found it to be quite different, quite unique, and quite interesting. I was just wondering, I came across this article about the differences in the pineal glands between American Aborigines and Gray Caucasians. And I came across this article. I'm going to go bring y'all over here. This is where I found it at. This is called The Incidence of Normal Pineal Glands Classification in Skulls and ROENTGENOGRAMS of Blacks and White Americans. And this particular article was published in the American Journal of Rheology, and it was published in 1974, which is, like I said, it's an older article. I'm pretty sure there might be some more up-to-date articles. I'm not sure, but this is the one I found. And the articles was written by Adelola Adeloli, something like that, and Benjamin Felsen. And both of them, I know Benjamin Felsen is a doctor, so a medical doctor. So yeah, I found this to be a really interesting article. So let me bring it back. We're going to read. I'm going to pretty much read the abstract. Well, I don't think this has abstract. Let me go back. I think the abstract. Okay, here's the abstract right here. I read the, if I can move myself out the way. Yeah, here's the abstract. It says here, the incident of rhinogenologically visible pineal gland calcification is approximately twice as common in American whites as in blacks, a difference that is very striking after age 40. Comparison of this finding with reports of the literature shown that the incidences of the pineal glands calcification is significantly higher in American blacks than in indigenous Africans, probably due to racial mixture among the American blacks that we study. It appears that low incidence of calcified pineal shadow already observed in Africans has a constitution basis, if I pronounced that right. But anyway, this article, I wanted to show this with you all. They have some long words in here, very long, like the rheological, and also down here Castle. Where is that? Calcification. I'm gonna bring y'all over here. Rhinogenology, I had to bring it over here. Calcification, it's like it says here, is the biggest problem for the pineal gland. Fluoride accumulates in the pineal gland more than any other organ and leads to the formation of phosphate crystals. As your pineal glands hardens due to the crystal production, less melatonin is produced and regulation of wake-sleep cycle will get disturbed. And that's pretty much what they say. It gets hardened, and it's harder to use your third eye to see things more deeper in a spiritual level. And usually that's what it's showing. And then, of course, the radiograms, I looked that up. That's dealing with x-rays and stuff. right here. Rentgenology, whatever. Trying to pronounce that. But this long medical term right here is pretty much the study of radiology, the science of radiation, and specifically the use of both ionized like X-rays and neonizing like ultrasounds modalities for diagnosis and treatments of diseases. So pretty much it's dealing with the X-rays and ultrasounds that they've done of the brain, the brain scans pretty much they've done, and when they did the comparisons between the American Aborigines and Gray Americans, Caucasians. And so let's start here. I thought this was very interesting because it showed in this particular scholarly journal article that there is a difference between American Aborigines and Caucasians. It says here, human pineal glands classifications, which were reported in autopsy specimens about 300 years ago, was the first described in the plain skull ROENTGENOGRAM in 1918 by Schuler, who remarked that the glands were very often showed a calcium deposit from the third decade, and occasionally even in children. See, that's quite interesting here. They stand as a difference in the size in the pineal glands from decades earlier. And it says subsequently, workers confirmed the Schuler's observation and established the influence of age of incidence of pineal classification from a summary of several of these works. The estimated frequency of pineal shows found to be a 2% in those 3 to 12 years of age, 46% from 13 to 40, and 69% at the age of 40. All these above studies were carried out mainly in Caucasians, and racial differences were not mentioned. See, they're talking about some of the earlier research they've done. And you know what makes sense? It shows here that the pineal gland was pretty large when you're younger. It says here is that it's different as percent 3 to 12 years old, 2%. And see, this theory right here, that what they're finding in the brains, it sort of goes along with what we experience as adults. Because when you're a kid, you sort of imagine things, you sort of see more into the spiritual than adults. A lot of times you can see things that most adults can't see. And it explains that it's probably like a big difference from when you're a small child, here from 3 to 12. And like something happens when you turn 12 through teenage years and into adult years, the pineal gland sort of changes and shifts. And then here it's just after 40, just really a bigger difference, even more significant difference of being able to tap into that third eye. I find it quite interesting. And the thing is, they mostly did it in Caucasian, so they can't tell whether there's a difference in the age or the lifespans between African Americans and Caucasians. But let's continue to read. I just found that quite interesting. But it says in recent years, as much as lower incidence of pineal gland classifications have been reported in other races. 9.9% in Japanese, 15.6% in the Fijians, and 19 to 24% Indians. In Africa, one of the first hints of low incidence of pineal shadow was made by Odiku and Genota in their study of the brain tumors in the University of College Hospitals in Aban, Nigeria. They mentioned a surprising relative classified pineal gland on skulls on real genograms in West Africa. At the same hospital, there was an average of about 2,000 skulls. Real geographic examinations may vary year. Adole and Aduku encountered less than 10 cases of real genographically visible classified pineal glands in the neurosurgery unit during a period of 10 years. These impressions have been confirmed by Damola and Olowu, who in The study of 952 skulls ROENTGENOGRAMS obtained in Nigeria's in Lagos found a classified pineal gland shadow of 5%. In East Africa, a radiologist in the Mulago hospital in Kampala, Uganda, found only 2 examples of classified pineal glands in a series of 100 consecutive skulls examined and obtained from 88 East Africans, 9 Asians and 3 Europeans between 17 to 62 in age. Although he did not identify the racial origins of 2 patients, any mode of mathematical manipulations would still make the incidence of pineal gland classification remarkably low in East Africa. No, East Africans. This is really interesting, you guys. So they're showing that there's a drastic difference, and it's showing that here in Africa it's even lower than the other ethnic groups. You know, when they show here the Fijians, people from Fiji, if I'm not mistaken, are people of color. They are. So it is still another group of indigenous people. Well, the Indians too. But let me go on. I'm sorry, I'm up here reading. Let's get back to it. It says pineal gland classification is not necessarily indicative of pineal atrophy. Atrophy. I think that's atrophy. I believe that's atrophy means the deteriorating of the pineal gland, but it says at least by biochemical and histologic evidence. A recent pathologic study shows that microscopic pineal gland classification among Nigerians Africans vary in every decade from the first to the ninth. The paradoxical reality of gross reogeographically visible pineal glands classification remain unexplained. Wow. And says the purpose of the recent study is to compare the incidence of classified pineal glands shadows between black and white populations living in similar environments to determine if there is truly a lower incidence of visible pineal gland classification among blacks, and if so, to seek an explanation for it. And so they showing that the Europeans in different geographic areas, their pineal glands were being crystallized, and more so than the people of color in Africa. So I guess they wanted to do a comparison of groups that are in similar environments. They're trying to see if it's an environmental difference. But here it goes into further details. They talk about the materials used in the method of the study and how they did it. And then they went on ahead and just further explain the findings right here. And it says here they used 500 patients. And it says here, of the 500 patients, entire series of 61 showed a classified pineal gland. None of the 125 patients in the first decade showed pineal gland classification. Then they talk about the racial differences, the racial variations. It says there were 29 blacks and 32 whites with classified pineal gland shadow, racial incidence of 9.7 and 16%, respectively. The ratio of visible pineal shadows in white and blacks is thus about 1.6, a difference which is statistically significant, which is showing a big difference, a significant difference. And it says the racial difference is also seen in the comparison limited to adults ages 16.1% of blacks and 26.4% of whites from the third decade on. Whoa. So it's still a difference. And then they go on and explain the differences in their age. Wow. They're showing the calcification, crystallized part of the pineal gland. That is, whoa, the third eye. And they're showing them on the youngest black with a calcification pineal gland, a boy of 16. The youngest was a woman of 21. So they really didn't have really young people for Caucasians in this study. That's what it looks like. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna leave a link to this article. This is a really interesting article. It has a chart, a table of the different, summarizing pretty much the different groups and categories, you know, and according to the different age groups and according to race. And it shows the difference in the classification and everything. And also this one shows the distribution of classified pineal gland right here. Right here, and it goes more into detail. And so then it goes, it just explains, it breaks it down according to the racial group, the sex, the age, and everything. And then it goes into the discussion, just like most research material, research journal articles, they break it down just like this, and it goes into detail. But I'm gonna scroll on down because I don't want to make this video too long. I just wanted to share with you all that, because according to the study, you're starting to see that there's a difference between American Aborigines and Caucasians, and the pineal gland and the third eye. And so it sort of explains why we think so differently about things, especially when it comes to race, and how we have a more open view and can see things from both perspectives better, more so than they can, because they still want to keep race supremacy alive and refuse to see from the other person's point of view. And who knows, maybe it is the pineal gland. Maybe they can't tap into the third eye as well to get a better view and understanding and seeing the injustice among American Aborigines. I don't know, but I just find this article to be quite interesting, and that this may explain why we see things in a different way, and why Caucasians oftentimes have a difficult time as showing empathy towards other racial groups, or being able to, maybe they're not as spiritual as we are, But I don't know. It's just showing that there is a difference. The way we think, and it probably explains why we think in a more different way than they do, and see things from a different perspective than they do. And maybe this physical part may be scratching the surface of why we have these racial issues. But anyway, let's continue. I'm just a theory, I would love to see what you all think about it. You can put your comments below, but I'm going to go down here to the summary. It says here, the incidence of renogenologically visible pineal gland calcification is approximately twice as common in American whites as in blacks, a difference that is very striking at the age 40. They are, which I'm not as surprised, because we age differently than Caucasians. Caucasians tend to age a lot faster than we do, especially in appearance. And obviously it's showing here in the brain and the pineal gland, that's a difference as well. And it says here, comparison of this find with reports in the literature shows that the incidence of pineal gland calcification is higher in American blacks than indigenous Africans. And probably due to racial mixture among the American blacks we studied, that could be it, because during the slave trade they were there was racial mixing going on, and then there's interracial dating right now. That could be it and part of it. But I also believe too is the products that we use and the products that we take in. I'm gonna do another video, I think, going more into about the pineal gland and everything, I was thinking about putting it together. I think I'm gonna do a separate video going more into the pineal gland and how to open it up. You know, I think too, it's a lot of stuff is our regiment, is what we eat, and probably the products that we use, like in toothpaste. It's a lot of fluoride, and plus they put a lot of fluoride in the water. So it might not be as much fluoride in Africa, and they might not as be exposed to some of the stuff that we are exposing to here in the Americas. Because I think it has a lot to do with environment as well. That may show why so much of a difference between American Aborigines and the indigenous people of Africa. And it says here, I think that has something has a contributing factor as well. But anyway, along with the racial mixing. And then it says it appears that the low incidence of calcified pineal gland shadow already observed in Africans has a constitutional basis. So this is the ending of this particular article. I think it's quite interesting, you guys. I wanted to share this article because it shows that there is a physical difference between American Aborigines and Great Caucasians. And maybe the pineal gland, that might be another contributing factor, along with the Neanderthal DNA, as to why they think differently about racism in this country and seem to have a hard time or refusing, I want to say, to take a look at racism and see it as a problem, and the unwillingness to tear down the system and make things right and more balanced. And also, for us to, to be able to see the bigger picture, because this labeling system, the racism, and all the stuff, that the injustice that's going on here in the Americas, I believe a smokescreen or a distraction to keep us from looking at the bigger picture, that there's, possibly an alien race, that are part of the rich elite that is taking over this planet. It's a lot of things that's going on, and it's sort of hard to get things done and see things in a bigger light when you constantly have distractions going on. But I can go on and on about that. I would love to see what you all think. Please like this video and thumbs up. Please like it. And peace, family. And love and peace. Bye-bye.